Alright, so this is going to be a tutorial for Expert Championship. This is a pretty difficult category and it took me a couple months to beat it with Dave Mariner. It might be easier with other characters, but with Dave Mariner you really have to know the tricks and tips. And he's the fastest. Like the other RTA categories, you start on this A button press on restart circuit. So Sunny Beach is considerably different. Universally in expert mode, the buoys are placed with like a tighter placement, so you have to have tighter lines or wider lines, and just lots more turning because they're so highly spaced apart. This red one particularly loses a lot of time, and you really shouldn't miss it on the first and second lap, but on the third lap it actually saves time to skip it. So this is kind of like a slalom now through pretty much the entire course. There's a straightaway here. Make sure to get the most out of your straightaways. Lots of speed. And be careful not to miss that yellow buoy there. On the third lap, we're going to be taking this last turn sharp and lining up with the left side of the finish line. Saves a little bit more time. Sunset Bay is a completely different level on Expert than the other difficulties. This is actually a really old strat. I think Hayami found it. Could be wrong. Somebody correct me in the comments below. And the difference in this difficulty is that the yellow buoy there. Oh wait, that would have been Ilu, not Hayami. You skip that yellow buoy because it's so far left. And you do that in all 3 laps. Because of that, you lose 3 misses before you get to the end. And that means we have to change the setup for the out of bounds skip at the end. So again, skipping this yellow buoy every time, every lap. And this section is a little bit more difficult. So take the turns super sharp, go around really wide, no big deal, and skip that. Go to the left of that yellow one, and then go to the finish line. And that'll save you a little bit of time going out of bounds there and skipping the last one. So Drake Lake is significantly more difficult than the other difficulties in my opinion. The slalom section has increased in size, and there's a more difficult route through the posts. So the slalom, you're going to want to take a little bit wider, take longer turns, and just take her safe. You don't want to crash there. And then this, you have to go right or left, right, left, and kind of an S motion going through it. I crashed pretty minimally there, but you can easily crash and lose 5 or 6 seconds there. And the CPUs will beat you if you do that on more than 1 lap. So you want to do the weaving and stick left, and then right, and then left. And it shouldn't be that difficult if you just take that left a little bit wide, and that'll slow you down enough so that you can have the reaction time to miss the other posts. It's important that you turn left at the end there so that you save a good amount of time. It really stacks up. And you can kind of take weird routes, and of course getting back on your craft with A and releasing the Z button will help to minimize the damage done by crashes, and is really an excellent skill to have in real-time runs of this game. So like in the other difficulties with Dave Mariner, you're going to want to go left over around this. It's not necessarily that the jump wouldn't save time, it's just that his turning is so slow that he can't do it. There's a lot more junk in the water there, so you're going to want to avoid that. It's also more difficult to get the skip with the dive, so I advise not going for it like I just did. As you can see, I'm already in 3rd rank, and it's going to be somewhat difficult to get back my place unless I know what I'm doing, which of course I'm pretty confident I'll get my place back, but because it's on the harder difficulties, the buoys are a bit different, and you really want to just get around that section of trash like I did, going in between the 2 first boxes. This corridor has changed in that there's now 2 boxes floating, but if you take it wide on both turns going through the corridor, you shouldn't have any problems. So you can line up with the center and then go left. Taking that wide is a really good idea because there's a board that floats up and down, and taking that wide is a good idea because you're going to miss that first box. Definitely one of the most difficult courses is Marine Fortress with Dave Mariner. And speaking of difficult courses with Dave Mariner, here comes Port Blue on Expert. So now only the shortcut is open and not the long way around. The waves have gotten a little bit crazier, and actually they've gotten about the same. They're about the same. The biggest difference, though, is that the ramps at the end where you jump, well, they are all the way to the ship now. And now we're going to use the R trigger while we're sliding up the ramp to turn right as we're going up the ramp. That will save a little bit of time. That's the one time that it's advisable to use the R trigger for turning. It actually skids you out. We haven't talked about it before because it's not useful anywhere else. Or I haven't talked about it in my tutorial series. This is a very difficult corner to do quickly. I'm not very consistent with it myself, but if you use the R trigger, I find it makes it a lot easier to go quickly. And this corridor isn't very easy either. So you just gotta, again, take it wide, and if you're really having problems, just let off the accelerator for a second and pause so you can turn rather than speeding into a wall, because going into a wall will just lose you a lot of time. Again, you can skip to the right of the goal there and save a little bit of time. I didn't save much time there because I was on a weird line, but it's kind of a fun thing to go for, and it does save time optimally. Twilight City, now you can't go over the wall with the ramp. It won't let you. So what you need to do is you need to dive off of it by going down on your control stick and then up. and you're pressing down on your control stick as you're going up the ramp, and then you're pressing forward as you're going off of the ramp, and that does a dive. Usually you're not, like, usually the developers of this game didn't really intend you to, like, take dives off of waves, or they don't have any intention of it, but it has been utilized by speedrunners in a couple instances. The other differences are these waves here. You're going to want to be careful because you can easily get off the line and then crash into one of the mines there. There's more mines in the sections where there was mines on expert mode in Twilight City, like right here, but the only one that matters is the first appearance. So hold down as you're going up the ramp, and then hold forward as you're going off the ramp, and then you'll go right underneath the wall. Try to not turn as much on these waves if you can. And try and take that mine route I take you there. It's not that difficult once you learn it, but it's really worth learning rather than going over the ramp, because you lose a lot of time going over the ramp. You can go over the ramp if you want to. It loses like 2 or 3 seconds, and it is consistent. It's not going to be difficult for you. So if you're having problems with just the difficulty overall of this this whole category, it might be a good idea just to take that ramp if you're having difficulties in crashing there. On Glacier Coast, it's exactly like the time trial one, so I'm gonna say that you should go and watch my time trial tutorial for this. It's essentially the same run, except for that the CPUs can run into one certain brick and make it easier. So it's a little bit easier in that one regard, but in general this course is quite difficult, and it's quite difficult to explain, so I really encourage you, if you haven't seen the time trial explanation, then go watch that, because I'm not prepared to do that just on this one video for this course. It's quite difficult. Just try to take things wide again. Try to be careful taking that corner. And this corner, take it super wide. Don't worry about taking it sharp like I did. And don't go for the 2 buoy skip at the end that we do in time trial, because if you accidentally miss a buoy, then you've retired, and now your run's over on the 7th of 8 courses. Speaking of 8 courses, now we're on to Southern Island. This is a very difficult course, I find, on expert. It's completely different than the other ones, and you can easily crash several times on this level. So the first difference is this buoy routing again. This yellow one's the first time. The first time you go around it, but the other times you actually miss it. Again, going over the waves in that section, like in the hard mode, you're going to want to do that. And on the second and third laps, after the ship, you're actually going to skip that yellow buoy because it just costs way too much time to go around. So jumping over the waves there, you don't want to pull back. And just kind of soar through the air, don't tap B, and it will end up being faster than trying to slam through the waves. On the third lap, we skip that yellow buoy as well. I was really lucky I didn't crash there. It's quite common to crash in this difficulty on this course, I think. I've crashed quite a bit. And really, I'm going to wish you all luck on completing this run with... Oh, sorry, the timing ends when you go across the finish line. But I'm really just going to wish you all luck in this category. It's quite difficult. And Ilu himself, this was his RTA category for a long time. He had the record, and just only has a couple seconds over him on it. Excellent runners on this difficulty. Definitely check out their runs and the other runs by Shibby Pod for the real-time speed runs. This is quite a difficult category. I struggled with it for a long time, so if you have additional questions about easier ways to do things or anything else, leave it in the comment section below and I'll tell you exactly what I think you can use to remedy your problems. Just the consistency in this run is quite difficult, so yeah, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching, and take care.